Hi everyone, it's Samantha with Clawfoot Farm, and let's take a walk around the garden and see what's going on in June. That one is almost ripe. Let's see. Oh, this one looks pretty good. So these are alpine strawberries. These are white strawberries. The alpine strawberries will continue to fruit from now all the way through probably September, October, and they have just enough fruit that you just get a little snack every time you come out in the garden. And they taste like you just ate 5 strawberries. It's amazing. Tiny little cucumbers. That one looks like it got eaten. Oh, but this one looks like it's starting to get a true leaf. That is good. Cucumbers tend to be hard for me, but I'm determined. We always try them every year. Our fava beans are growing. Remember just last week when we did this tour and the fava beans were tiny? They're now growing. Oh, they're almost ready to pick. Let's see, let me show you. A couple of them are giant. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Look at those fava beans. They're so interesting how they're growing. And here's our onions. And they are growing well. We have been harvesting a few of these onions. As you can see, they are starting to get their bulbs. And we plant the onions really close together. So when we start harvesting them, we just go every other one. And that gives them more space for the last ones to pick to really get large. It's just a more useful use of our space. The potatoes in the tires here are about 3 times the size as the potatoes that I put in the ground and didn't hill up. So definitely hilling up the potatoes has caused them to grow more. We'll see in a few more weeks if it actually was a bigger yield. We'll find out. So this whole bed is all new since you last saw. We were just mowing this ground. The blueberries have been here, and I think that tomorrow we will come out here, look at those, and pick some of those blueberries. But we also planted tomatoes in between our berry bushes here. So every year I always say that I'm not going to dig any more sod, and every year I have too many plants and I find some place that we have to dig up the sod. Digging sod is the worst job for the garden ever. I would really love to do anything else except for digging sod out of the ground. And there is a way you do lasagna gardening and cover it with cardboard or paper and then plastic and some manure or some compost right over the top and let it sit for a while, and it gives you a really great garden in about 6 months. But I needed these in the ground now, so I dug the sod, and now we have tomatoes. And here's a little tomato, little guy there. And here's our currants. The currants have all ripened up in this last week, and that is beautiful. The bee balm is insane. This also is really cool. This plant here is taller than I am, and it's getting these little flowers. There we go. Those little flowers on there. It's really pretty. This is the anise hyssop, and this is a really great plant for tea, and it tastes and smells like licorice. And last year, this plant only got probably knee high. This year, it's over my head. So that's fabulous. All the blueberries. Oh yeah. Those say blueberry pancakes all the live long day. Blueberry pancakes, please. Okay, let's go to the pumpkin patch. And last week, these were just starting to germinate and grow. Now, take a look at how big they are. So there's one. There's one. Alrighty, here's our tomatoes. And almost all of the tomato plants now have blossoms on them. Here's some to take a look for. And I know that Jess at Roots and Refuge Farm, she always says that she pinches off her ephaciated blossoms, and that's the big giant ones like this one, because she always says she pinches those off because they make a really big weird, she calls it cat-faced tomato. I leave them on because I really like just having those really gnarly looking tomatoes in the garden, and I just think it's really interesting to see what actually turns out from them. So we'll see what that one does. We also have some large squash here on the bottom. These are mystery squash. Oh yeah, this one might be a zucchini. We'll see. Will thinks this is going to be a zucchini. These are volunteer squash. Volunteer squash. This one is too young to really tell what this one's gonna be. He thinks it's gonna be a zucchini. I don't know. We'll see. And right alongside the tomatoes here, we have planted turnips, because this slope is so large that I just thought we could use that space for something else. So we'll see how that goes. Those are growing nicely, and they're not really competing with the tomatoes at all. There's still a good 6 inches between the turnips and the tomato, between the turnips and the tomatoes. So we'll see how that goes. This view right here, I am loving this view from the garden. It's full and lush. We are about ready to be done with the snow peas. They're starting to get done, but there's still a lot of them on there. And the calendula. And I just love how the nasturtiums are peeking out from the bottom of the lettuce there. And then there's dill poking up. And then the peas. And then all of that kale. Okay, let's move across this way. And over here. Oh, look at this little guy. Oh, this one just opened up today. So the last time we saw the raspberries, we were looking at the first one that was getting ripe. Now, we've been out here eating them every day. The kids have been out here eating them every day. The neighbors have been out here eating them every day. Do you grow raspberries on your farm or your urban spot or your urban space or suburban space? What do you like to do with raspberries? We mostly just eat them and then make jam, but I would love to know what other fun things you do with your raspberries. All right, here's our quinoa. And it is getting giant. I'm gonna grab some raspberries. And we're gonna go in the backyard. Okay. I made a lot of slobber in my mouth. Okay, so here we are in the backyard. And I'll just give a view. Here's our corner garden. There's the backyard garden, backyard bed, and the chicken coop. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how the garden has changed over the last month or so that we've been doing this. But the backyard garden really has been just kind of holding its own. There really hasn't been a whole lot of maintenance besides just weeding here and there to do in the backyard. There's a lot of perennials and a lot of long season crops like garlic and onions back here, and then just flowers and herbs, and we've been enjoying it on a daily basis. And I'm super excited that the bee balm is about to bloom. Ooh, that's pretty gorgeous. This bee balm is my favorite for tea, and I have been out of that for a little while now. So I'm super excited for that to come up. Oh yeah, look at this. So we have a first one of these bachelor buttons are blooming now too. Oh, that just happened today. Well, that's pretty. All of this ferny stuff, this is all the asparagus. That's what asparagus does when it goes to seed. Here's our garlic. And the garlic is doing great. We are doing, this is all hardneck garlic, and it gets scapes that look like this. They get curly little scapes. And when this happens, you want to snap that off. I'll snap it off. Just like that. Because this is actually the garlic trying to go to seed. And if you cut this off or snap it off, your bulb, your garlic bulb gets to be bigger. But also, you can use this anytime that a recipe says green garlic. This is what they're talking about right here. You can chop this up and use that just like garlic in any recipe. So the onions are doing great. And then all the way in the back here, let's see if I can get back in here. we go. And there are a bunch of weeds back here, but there we go. Back here, we have some amaranth growing that's supposed to get pretty big. So hopefully that grows and outcompetes the weeds back here. And the sunflowers are getting really giant. Okay, so since we're back here, we're gonna just come right back here to the back and look at the artichokes. Here's the artichokes. We have been eating the artichokes, and I'm gonna have to find some new recipes because my family has said no more steamed artichokes. We need something else. Can you see how many are on there? Like, I can just, by looking, I can see about 20 right now. So I bought these 2 kiwi plants on a whim, and I was so excited. And I have no place to put them, and they are quickly dying. So the next couple days, my goal is to find a spot and have Operation Save the Kiwi Plant in effect. Sometimes you just buy things and you don't have that much space. Like buying a big vine like that, you don't even know where you're gonna put it. It gets tricky. So I want to show you the tendril peas and how they're doing. So we only have like 5 or 6 plants here of the tendril peas. They're just right over here in this shady little space on the side of the chicken coop. And they had a rough start. We had a chicken that came out here and basically dug up this whole area, because I did plant them all where this little white fence is. So all along there was going to be all tendril peas. And we had a chicken come out and have some lunch out here. But they are growing, and we're getting lots of peas. And they're really beautiful. And the tendrils are just beautiful as well. It's a really beautiful plant, but my family doesn't like the peas. So we tried to eat them, and it doesn't taste as good as our just sugar snap or the Amish snap pea or even the snow peas that we're growing in the front. So I don't know. I mean, I love how they look, and they're really cute and they're beautiful, but I don't know if we're gonna grow them next year because they're just, no one wants to go eat them. Here I've put up lots of little garden moments like this. It's really made me happy this whole year to just have lots of these little spaces this year. Oh yeah, let's look at the front of the house. Okay, so this is the front. There we go. This is the front of our garage. And we have a little planter that we built out of some old pallets here and some more feverfew that has happily seeded here. But right in here, these are the hops that I bought at the plant sale, and they are growing nicely there. And this is also where most of the peppers grow. And that's the garden tour for what I would call this middle of June. And we'll be back again soon to show you what else is going on.